Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Just sound so smooth.
I went to the doctor that day. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I went to the doctor and I was like, all right, I'm just going to get a checkup, see what's going on. The honest truth is I knew it wasn't going to be awesome, okay? I knew the doctor wasn't going to be like, you might be surprised to hear this, but you're perfect. Like, you're a perfect physical specimen, man. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I didn't expect him to be a dick. Usually they're not. I feel like in my experience, doctors are polite, almost overly polite, where it's phony and condescending. When they go, oh, really interesting story you got there. Doctors do that because you're telling them a story, and doctors don't want to hear a story. Doctors want to hear, this hurts. Not, I was over at my friend Charlie's house, and we went to move the ottoman, and, I mean, you can use it as a coffee table, or you could use it as an ottoman, it's up to you. And your doctor's like, I want to blow my fucking brains out right now. I go in there, I sit on the exam table, which is my least favorite table to sit on in the world. It's the only table that in 30 years I've sat on where my feet don't touch the ground. So I feel like a fucking toddler waiting like... My doctor comes in, he doesn't say hello, he doesn't say good morning, he just walks in, he points at me, which is super aggressive, you know, to start a conversation with somebody like, hey man, you're like, hey, what's up, man? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, what? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, I don't get it. And he goes, has nobody told you that your hair's falling out? And I was like, damn. No. And he goes, oh, sorry. Like, all right. Then he pulls my chart out of the slot, super dramatic, so that it makes a fucking noise. He goes, I'm like, and he goes, wow. And I'm like, really? Wow. Is it full-blown AIDS? Like, why is it wow? And he goes, you weigh 245. And I go like, yeah, like I knew that shit. And he goes, you weighed 230 last time you were here. Not exactly what I would call weight loss. And I'm like, are we at a fucking roast or something? Right? Like, what are you doing? Then he says, you know, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. And I go, it's 9:30 in the morning. And he goes, still. He's like, you know, we ran your blood work. It turns out your muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I go, yeah, man, like, I'm super strong. Like, how is that a problem? And he goes, they're off the charts. I'm like, even better. I'm probably your strongest patient, man. And he goes, I don't think you understand muscle enzymes. And I go, that's true. I don't know what they are. And he goes, well, the only way you could have them this high would be like, A, if you were an Olympic athlete, which clearly. You know, I'm like, dude, what is the deal, man? And he goes, the other way would be if you were a cocaine addict. And I go, I don't do coke. And he goes, I'm your doctor. You don't have to lie to me. And I go, I'm not lying. And he goes, I can't treat you if you're not going to be honest. And I go, hey man, aren't cokeheads skinny? Isn't that like part of the deal? And he goes, usually, yeah. The nurse comes in. She takes my chart out of his hands and she goes, oh my God. His muscle enzymes are so high. Maybe he runs marathons. And my doctor goes, look at him. So at this point, I go, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to leave now. And he goes, all right. And he goes, hold on a second. Do you have a ring on your finger? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you're married. And I go, yeah. And he goes, to a guy? And I go, no. And he goes, oh, I thought you were gay. And I go, why? And he goes, oh. I'm like, all right, dude. And he goes, hey, I'm just kidding. And I go, that's fine. He goes, but check it out. And he takes my chart and he shows it to me, and he had written gay ? On my medical chart. The thing that gets sent to other doctors has his inside, maybe he sucks cock joke written on it. I went home, I told my wife, she's like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I mean, are you ever gonna go back there? I'm like, are you out of your mind? That's the funniest fucking doctor in the world. Of course I'm going back there. I have like Don Rickles as my primary care physician. It's amazing. I'm faking injuries to go back to this guy. You know you're a piece of shit. I'm like, I know. He's fucking amazing. A few months ago, I called a car service to take me to the airport. You know, when you're like, I got $60, let's fucking do this, right? It's nice, town car comes to the house, the guy gets out, he's got all white hair, much older man. From the beginning, he makes me uncomfortable when he calls me sir. I don't know if you've ever heard a guy way older than you call you sir, and you're like, hey man, you're like 1,000 years old. You have a couple weeks to live, maybe. How about we drop the formality, okay? I get in the car, he goes, is the temperature all right, sir? I go, it's fine. He goes, would you like a bottle of water, sir? And I go, you don't have to call me sir. You can just call me Tom. And at that moment, all of his professionalism went out the window. The very next thing he said was, you smoke weed? And I was like, I mean, yeah, sometimes. And he goes, do you want to smoke some now? And I was like, I mean, yeah. But I don't think my driver should be offering me, you know? He doesn't miss a beat. He opens the console, he takes out a joint, he lights it, he passes it back. I hit it out of respect, right? Because he's old. And then I give it back to him, and the next thing he says is, yeah, I can't drive unless I'm fucked up. I'm like, do you hear what you just said? And he goes, yeah, I'm ripped right now. And I'm like, well, hands on 10 and 2, motherfucker. Like, keep it together. He goes, is that all you do? Smoke weed? I can handle a guy that smokes weed. He goes, well, I love it all. I'm like, what's all? That's a broad statement. He goes, I love coke. I love heroin. But there's nothing like smoking rocks. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I don't know what you're saying. Mind you, this is while he's driving. So it's actually like, I love smoking rocks, man. You know what I'm like, dude, turn around. So I go, can I ask you something? He goes, yeah, what's up? I go, what's it like to smoke rocks? I've never done that before. And he goes, ooh! I was like, is that the whole sentence? Is that it? He goes, that shit is the best! And what I like to do personally is I like to sit in my apartment and fire them up. And then I look out the peephole and I watch people walk around. And I just freak the fuck out about what's gonna happen next. And then he gave me a head nod like, doesn't that sound awesome? I was like, dude, that sounds terrible. That's called a panic attack, and that's a horrible sales pitch for crack. Now I'm definitely not gonna try it. We pull up to the airport, and I go, it's none of my business, but I think you're too old to be messing with all these drugs. And he goes, I don't do it anymore, Tom. Yeah, it was sir at the top of the ride. Now it's Tom, you piece of shit. I don't do it anymore. I did it when I was younger. And I go, all right. And he goes, I mean, I still do it every once in a while. But you know what they say. If you do something every once in a while, it's not that bad for you. And I was like, dude, I think they mean that about like pizza and chocolate. Nobody ever means that for crack, just so you know. I've never heard, what are you doing? I'm smoking rocks. Well, not every day, okay? You crazy kid.
'Cause I'm so smooth.